Time now is 20 minutes past 7. Here's something many of you will be familiar with, even possibly from last night. Now that is apparently the sound of foxes mating, and it's annoying a lot of people, including the very distinguished television and radio presenter and author Paul Gambaccini, who joins us now. Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
Paul, most of our listeners will know you through your very distinguished career as a broadcaster. This is certainly not some sort of campaign issue for you, but it sounds like you've been having a complete nightmare. What's been going on?
Well, we moved a year and a half ago into a conservation area in Kennington, and we were greeted quite quickly, once or twice a week, by that sound you have just played in the middle of the night. And it's amazing to me how many people that I talk about this have had a similar experience. The urban foxes have really come to town because all over London, Ladbroke Grove, Collier's Wood, people are saying, yes, we get it too. And what it is the sound of children being tortured. I'm sorry. Everybody says it sounds like children being tortured. And it's really shocking. No matter how many times you've been woken up by it, it's really bad news.
And it got so bad, your husband actually was running out in the middle of the night trying to sort this out.
Well, yes, because we have bushes and on the side of the house, and it was so loud that he did run out, and he had to break it up, which is an experience I don't wish on anyone. And then the following night, I had to chase him away. They really do operate with impunity, and sometimes they fight as well, a turf war. So it's a very noisy affair.
So, and apart from that, are they sort of damaging property? I mean, are they on your doorstep causing problems? Are they, doing all sorts of bad things in flower pots?
Well, of course, yes, they've dug up the soil, and of course, they've left their unwelcome reminders. And bizarrely, when I started getting home delivery of the Financial Times, which, thank God, considerately wraps the paper, they, as a symbol of their territory, urinated on the Financial Times, which is perhaps...
Sorry. So that's not funny at all, and certainly not a metaphor that any of us take seriously. And I'm sure that wasn't a comment on the calibre of the journalism within the pink, and as we call it. Paul, let me bring in Dawn Scott, if you wouldn't mind, terribly. Someone who's Executive Dean of the School of Animal, Rural and Environmental Sciences at Nottingham Trent University. Dawn, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry that I started laughing. That's terribly unprofessional. Are the numbers of foxes, urban foxes, in our cities increasing? Is Paul right to detect a sort of a growing problem?
Well, foxes have been recorded in London for about 100 years. We've done some studies looking at their changes, and we think it's probably stable. So there was probably a period of growth because they love suburban habitats. It's great for them. There's lots of food and lots of places. But we haven't seen a significant change in the last couple of decades. They've sort of stabilised. Foxes' numbers are regulated by the amount of food, also social conflict, also in terms of diseases like mange. So we think they're probably stabilised. But They are very vocal in the winter, so you might notice them more.
They certainly are. Just before I go back to Paul for a final word, what's your advice to Paul about how he should try to minimise the disruption to both him and his sacred copy of the FT?
Well, first of all, they tend to, when they're breeding in the winter, this vixen scream is the vixens bringing in other males to be able to breed with to get the best quality males. So it only tends to happen up until sort of end of February. After that, the cubs are born. And so it is only temporary. So I know it's an inconvenience and it's keeping you awake, but it is just part of the natural cycle of having wildlife in our cities.
Dawn, thank you so much. Paul, do you get any reassurance from that?
Well, I'm looking forward to summer. What can I say? And that's really it. And long may the foxes live in somebody else's territory.
Paul Gambaccini and Dawn Scott, thank you both very, very much indeed.
There is no defeating them. I've tried putting up more fences. I've tried putting out smells that you're told on the internet. Nothing works. The foxes always get back in, and if you go to bed at 8 o'clock like I do sometimes to do this programme, you get a lot of noise. Gary is here with the sport. Morning, Gary.
Morning. If they've been in London for 100 years, does that mean they were 20th century foxes?
Oh.